We have drugs that are being taken by patients. What happens when we take these drugs? Overdose. What happens when we are not getting proper supervision when it comes to us taking our drugs and taking it rightly? Today we are going to discuss drugs, especially substance abuse. What do we do with these drugs, especially when we don't get it from the right sources? Most of our youths are out there getting drugs, especially tramadol. We are talking about most of the narcotic drugs. They are getting it. You don't even know where they get it from or how it ends up with them. They take it and they can stand and sleep without even noticing. When the drugs wear out of their system, you see them to be normal. And then when they don't get it at a certain point, they become something else. They become agitated. They become too troublesome. You can't even control them. Today we'll be discussing this. And of course, to help me do this is a rep from the Narcotics Control Board. Now it is a commission. So instead of mentioning it NACOP, we would rather mention it as NACOC. So this is it. It's barely a year old, but we are trying to get it done to mention it until our tongues get to know it better. So this is David Ni Ajay Ajite. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so today this is what we'll be discussing. When we make mention of the narcotic, what comes to play? What should come into our minds? We know that drugs are supposed to be prescribed by doctors. What happens to the rest of the drugs that are not prescribed by doctors?
Thank you. When we talk of narcotic drugs, we are talking about drugs that are harmful to the human being or the human body.
Okay.
Because of their strength, they are not supposed to be used the way people use it today. And that makes them troublesome or causing problem for us. I must make it clear here that NACOC or Narcotics Commission, we are concerned or we deal with only the illicit or the illegal narcotic drugs. For example, marijuana, we have cocaine, we have heroin, we have methamphetamine. Those are the drugs that we deal with. Other drugs like you mentioned drugs like tramadol. They are legal narcotic drugs. So actually they are not under our control. They are under the control of the Food and Drugs Authority and the Pharmacy Council. But because of their effect on the people who use them and the effect that the problems that it poses to the whole nation, we talk about them in our education to the public. Yeah, but actually we are more concerned, or our mandate is limited to the illegal drugs.
Okay. So you made mention of the fact that tramadol can be prescribed. Yes, it is used for severe pains, to bring down severe pains.
Yes, tramadol is an essential drug. It is a class A drug, meaning that it cannot be sold on the counter.
Okay.
It is sold by a pharmacy
with a prescription.
In fact, it is used to alleviate pains, severe pains. So it is not a drug that you just walk into any chemical shop and buy it on your own
and you
without
buy
prescription.
It at the over the counter.
You are not supposed to. Yeah. And even those who sell it to are not supposed to sell them in chemical shops over the counter. But because of maybe the want for money, people just overlook all these laws and sell them. And because of the effects that people have when they take it, feeling high, those things, people just go and buy without prescription, and they take it, and many people have even died out of that. Many people have gone mad, or their lives have been distracted
Transformed into
because
something else.
of these drugs. But actually, it's an essential drug that is meant for pain relief. Doctors use them for different purposes, but it is not supposed to be used just for pleasure. The danger is that those who take it today in so many areas, like when you go to the northern part of the country, even school children take it. They mix it with a Sobolo drink. They mix it with a
Cough
5-star
syrups and stuff.
energy
Yeah.
drinks, and that causes more harm to
Than good.
their body or their system with those drugs.
Why do we say these drugs are narcotic? Is it because we can abuse them and they turn out to be something else into our systems?
No, narcotic drugs are drugs that normally we also call them psychotropic drugs. They affect the central nervous system, changing the way the body organs function, especially the brain.
Okay.
So that makes them dangerous drugs, and they are addictive. Addictive means that you take one today, tomorrow, and then the continuous use of it would lead to a situation that you become dependent on it. Your whole life seems to be dependent on this drug. Without it, you cannot function proper, or you feel you cannot live without it. Every now and then, you need it into your system before you feel a living human being. That makes them very dangerous.
Interesting. Now, we've had instances where we buy cosmetic products, especially hair food.
Yes.
That's the pomade for the hair.
Yes.
Realize that there are these dark brownish substances here and there in the pomade.
Yeah.
If I want to produce a particular product like that, where is my first point of contact? Especially if I want to use weed.
Yeah. Because of the dangerous nature of weed, it has not been legalized or permitted. The permission has not been granted just to produce anything out of it. In fact, scientists or researchers are still going through researches to find out what can come out of weed. And many people are coming out with suggestions that there are some economical benefits of the weeds. But we have not reached that stage. We have not got any concrete proof that, yes, this can be produced from weed, that can be produced from weed, and therefore we open the permission to everyone just to produce anything. So if you find out, or you have found out something that you can produce from it, the first thing is to get the license from it. Now the law says
from you.
Yes, you can come to us, but our new law gives permission for some species. In fact, they say the THC is the dominant chemical in the drug in weed, which cause the problem for.
What does it mean? What's the THC?
Tetrahydrocannabinol, or we simply call it Delta 9.
Okay.
That is the chemical in the plant which causes the intoxication or the problem to the brain.
Okay.
And if that can be reduced, then our law says plants with 0.3% of that chemical can be planted, but you have to get the license from the commission before you can start producing it.
But do we have people producing it with your permission?
We have not started operating that aspect of the law now, because it has to go with regulations. The law has been passed, all right, but we have to develop regulation to guide the license. That regulation is in progress. We've not got it yet. So as at now, nobody has been issued any license. We have not started operating that. So it is still illegal to produce weed in any form in Ghana.
Be it planting, be it in production form or whatever.
Any form, the possession of it, the planting of it, any form of it is still illegal.
Interesting. Now, one of your functions or your main functions is to enforce and control the narcotic laws of this country. When we are talking about the law, I know that after the bill was passed in Parliament in May, you had some reviews. The bill was reviewed, some parts was amended and all that. Can you tell us what it actually states?
Well, until May 2020, we used to be Narcotics Control Board, and our law then was a PNDC law 236, which spells out the functions.
1990.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah. Now, this new law, 1019, Act 1019, is a new law, all right, but it didn't take away those functions. It just added and modified some of them to suit the current situation. You know, the drug market is dynamic, changing all the time. Again, the legal terrain in our country is also changing. It has changed over the years. So more responsibilities have been added. Some have been modified and reviewed. So it states only in four broad categorically of broad statements that one, our function is to ensure public health and safety by controlling the production of those drugs, the illegal drugs. Still, I'm talking about the illegal narcotic drugs. We've mentioned some of them already. Yeah. So we control them to ensure that they are not produced, they are not distributed, the marketing is controlled. If that is done to the latter, then we can assure ourselves that we have a safe environment as far as narcotic drugs is concerned. Okay. It also, they all affect the health, public health, the individual health, family health, society, all suffer from those drugs. So if we are able to control them, simply put, we say we are reducing supply of those drugs. Yeah. So if we are able to control the supply, because if the drug is not there, it's not available, those who use it will not find it to use. Again, we have what we call demand reduction. We control those who crave for the drugs by educating, by giving counseling, rehabilitation, and all that, so that those who would like to go into the abuse of the drugs will not go into it. Those who have already gone into it will also be controlled so that the effect will not escalate into
something else,
dependency. Then the law also says we collaborate with other authorities to develop measures to rehabilitate those who have those drug problems. Again, we collaborate with other authorities to find alternative living livelihoods for those who plant those plants.
So like, if you are doing that for a living, it means that we need to get you another type of business to venture into, so that you may stop whatever you're doing.
We can't just go and stop somebody or destroy somebody's work upon which the person lives with the whole family. So if somebody is identified as a weed farmer then we have to find something else that will fetch him or give him a living to replace the weed, the growing of the weed or the cultivation of the weed plant. That is the third one. Then the fourth one is to facilitate the confiscation of narcotic-related offenses, assets or benefits that are derived from these narcotic trades. We have to facilitate the confiscation of those proceeds. That is to make sure that we deprive those involved in narcotic businesses or trade of any proceeds or benefits that they will derive, just to deprive them, discourage them from doing it.
So in the long run, we are going to get to do what the law says, Justice for All program that was started in 2017.
Yes.
It means that we are going to achieve that aim.
Yes. We are bent on going all the miles to achieve those aims. And for that matter, the law has given us several functions, so many functions that we will do or undertake to achieve this. But in short, to summarize those activities or to summarize those mandates, we can say that we do demand reduction and supply reduction. Make sure that the drugs are not available. Make sure that those who use it are controlled or educated about the dangers involved in those.
So, like, let's say if they are
drugs.
taking one bottle of this every day, at the end of the day, you want to achieve probably half. By a month's time, it's supposed to go down. By a year's time, you're not supposed to even get it
completely.
Oh, okay, that's it. So it says the new law has converted the prison term for drug possession for personal use into a fine of 200 to 500 penalty units, translating into 2,400 to 6,000 cedis. This does not mean that the drug use has been legalized, as portrayed by some media outlets. Okay, that's it. It means that instead of sending people to prisons for up to 10 years for simple possession of drug for personal use, they will offer alternatives to them. Okay, so it says, under the law, too many people were being put behind bars simply for possession of 1 or 2 rolls of marijuana and any other drugs for personal use. Yes, the consumption of all kinds of drugs appear to continue increasing. The evidence is that disappropriately repressive approach to drug control and particularly to drug use have not succeeded in eradicating drug markets and related harms. Instead, these policies have led to serious unintended consequences and often disappropriately impact upon the poor and marginalized. So what we are trying to achieve here is that most of our prisons are filled up based on I have just 1 roll of marijuana and then I get to spend 10 years in prison. So why don't you give me something else, probably pay a fine of 6,000 cedis? And I think the 6,000 cedis, it will take that person quite some time to pay the 6,000. And so it will rather deter you from getting 1 roll.
Yes.
From it.
The purpose here is that the law enjoins us to treat drug use as public health issue, more of public health than criminal aspect issues. So if somebody is holding, possessing drugs for personal use, then the person is seen as a sick person, somebody who needs help to come out of that. So instead of just imprisoning the person for that number of years, it used to be from between 5 years to 10 years. It's been reduced. So if the person seemed to be just abusing the drugs for the fancy of it, still the law says that the person must be punished. Instead of putting the person behind bars.
And those with huge fines would rather be out there.
Exactly. You find
have space for them.
the person. If it continues, even there is
stiffer
there is
punishments.
in practice there is somewhere that the court can give the person compulsory rehabilitation treatment.
Okay.
The person can be forced to go for a rehabilitation program. The other problem with that is now, as at we speak now, how many rehabilitation centers do we have
in this country?
We don't even have government-owned rehab centers.
So we have
separately solely for drug issues. What we have is like the Pantan Hospital, the psychiatric hospital here, Kolebu Addictive Center. They have all sort of mental ailments there, but solely for drugs, it's the private owners that have. In Accra here, we have about 4 or 5. And then
what about the rest of the regions? It's also a problem.
They don't have. So the new law says that drug use must be considered a public health issue than treating as a criminal offense.
Okay.
That is how or why
there's a meaning of that law.
It has been reduced to that level.
Okay, so
but I must say that doesn't mean that now if you are holding drugs, nobody can arrest you. It is still illegal. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It says the law would also allow for the first time the implementation of life-saving harm reduction services for people who, such as HIV and hepatitis B and C, overdose deaths and drug dependence.
Yes. Harm reduction is a program that seeks to reduce the harm, the effects of the drugs. But basically, it looks at those who inject drugs and contract some other diseases like blood-borne diseases. You know, those who inject drugs, they do it in groups. Maybe 2, 3, 4 people will be seated together. This person will inject and give the same.
And it comes in big syringes.
Yes.
The syringes are very big.
Give the same, pass on the same syringe to the next person. He will also inject it. If the first person has got, or one of them has got
HIV, it means that the rest of them
they all share it. So that is the purpose of the harm reduction, replacing the syringe, or even the drug that they use can be replaced with something else, methadone or something else, to gradually.
That one is less harmful?
Yes, that is less harmful.
But it's also narcotic.
Less addictive.
Okay, but it's also narcotic.
Yes, okay. And then gradually the person becomes okay. Will no more go for the cocaine or the heroin that he used to do. So that is the harm reduction does not seek to prevent the use of drugs, but it tries to reduce the harm, the negative effects that people get as a result of the drug use. So that is another side, or one side of the fight against drug abuse and its attendant effects.
Interesting. So you are watching Adwa TV, and this is Regulators. You heard from David Ajay. He's the head of the Accra Regional Office Narcotics Control Commission. So those of us who do not know, this is it. My name is Nafa Alikwakuba. I'll be right back after the break. This time when we come, we're going to talk about our entry points in the country, how we are able to stop the drug that comes into the country, especially cocaine. Cocaine is not grown in this part of our country. It comes from outside of this country. And so when it gets here, what do we do about it? We'll be right back.
Supa na wanya pomuden. Se wo benum nsu a, hwe hu ni se eye Migo purified mineral water. Eye nsu a yetu ni baby pa. Asaso ni so se kronje. Se wonya Migo purified mineral water bogu ubu a, wo see you manum nsupa. Migo mineral water de edanso. Esan say the modern technology so na ye. Ede na nkabia ni atri. Migo purified mineral water. Bacteria na mhen wa berem. Eye very hygienic. Obia di one dance here. Migo mineral water neatly packaged for 500 ml bottles mu. Na wani boswa na wo donsio. Wo benya Migo purified mineral water to baby a. To phone call Dr. Wa amount 40 per junction. Ana fre 050 7055 409 ana 055 392 1088. Migo purified mineral water. Akona kono.
Ghana punto hia me Ghana punto hia wo Ghana punto hia nyina frisa Ghana yaman na so man yi be yesu a gina me ene wo so de santi no de akoso e wo krom wo mpatamu empo wo fitira e twi o man yi san na emwa ye punto no yasem hia wo se ye hwe na yeka yese wan kasa wotiri hu a ye yi wo ibone de santi hia me wasem hia edi kan dwumadi so na ye hwen kan sem hia bi a edi o man yi nya efa enwoma sua ho apomodin ahonidie adwuma ene apadie nsam ho yaman yanhwe ma ne sei sansese ya yatimbi one Ghana, that is all we have. If it is present, you will talk about it right here on the show. Your friend Kusi Francis and I am the Chairman Junior.
Welcome back from the break. Thanks for joining us once again. You can join us on Facebook at TV Ghana. Don't forget to share with us your comments, your contributions, and your suggestions. My name is Nafali. And of course, we are back again. I indicated that we'll be discussing what happens at the point of entry. When I talk about the point of entry, I'm talking about our ports, I'm talking about borders, I'm talking about where most of our goods come in from. We are talking about the airports, especially what happens there. We have dogs, special dogs, who are able to sniff and tell us that, look, there is something fishy going on in this particular luggage. When we get to the ports, we have scanners. They are able to scan and detect and tell us what exactly is inside that container. When we get to the borders, we have the police, we have the immigration, we have the Ghana Armed Forces, we have people from the Narcotics Control Board as well. And so they see to it that whatever comes into this country is genuine. We don't have any other thing going out. But there are loopholes. So we are going to check where the loopholes are coming from. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's discuss what happens at the point of entry.
Okay. Like you said earlier on, cocaine is not produced in Ghana.
Yeah.
In fact, many people say, I've heard people saying that cocaine is from human bones, dead bones. That is not true. Cocaine is produced from a plant called the coca bush plant. We don't have those plants in the whole of Africa. They are produced in countries like Peru, Ecuador, in fact, South American countries.
Okay.
That is where cocaine is produced. Heroin is also produced from a plant. We don't have those plants here in Africa. It is produced in Southern Asia countries, and they are trafficked through Eastern African countries through West Africa, but the market, the main market, the target market is Europe and North America. But they pass through our shores as transit. And unfortunately, as they pass by, some remain here and our people are also consuming. So now we have also become a consuming country, just not only a transit country, but our country has also become a consuming country, just like the European countries that are the targets. So it is our duty to make sure that we secure our borders, entry points, to make sure that these drugs will not enter into the country. For quite a number of years now, we have got our officers at almost all the entry and exit points. We have office at Aflao, we have office at Elubo, and then on the sea we have the Tema Harbour, we have the Takoradi Harbour, in addition to the regional offices. These places
so the regional
that
offices are in all the 16 regions.
Yes, now we have offices in all the 16 regions. The newly created regions,
yeah.
we have opened the offices, we have created our offices, but not all of them are functional now. But the first 10 regions, they are fully operational at the moment. So almost all the entry points, we have our men there, with the exception of the Upper East and Upper West. Upper West, we have entry point there, and then Upper East too, there's another entry point there. Those are the places, the entry points that we have. We don't have our men operating there, but we have the regional offices.
They are right at the top, and
yes.
So whatever country that is behind them or is further behind them would have to go through them before getting into this country.
Yes. The reason being that in the first place, we don't have enough men.
Okay.
Our number is not large enough to get people all over the country. But we are trying now. The government has given us the opportunity to recruit. As we speak now, we have recruited some people who are at the moment at training. So gradually,
so they go through training like the military, the armed forces.
Yes.
Okay.
We are giving training.
Okay.
We are giving training. Sometimes we are giving training at the military training camps or immigration training camps. So we take our recruits through training, vigorous training. And then at the ports, we have scanners not belonging to the commission, but the authorities, the port authorities have scanners through which all consignment passes, and then we have our men in the scanning room as well. So
immediately we are going to term it as the MCR, master control room, basically.
So any consignment that is taken through the scanner, our men are there, and there are people who can read the images and interpret the images. So anything strange or different from what the container is supposed to contain can be detected there. When it gets to the luggage post at the airport, and it's a large container or large consignment, we also have sniffer dogs who goes round. We take them round, and they are able to detect any hidden drug. Our men are also trained such way that even if somebody has swallowed drugs into the stomach, our men will be able to detect that this man I suspect that the way he's behaving, the way his body, his demeanor, and it's like.
What happens when you swallow these drugs? You feel uncomfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
The whole body will change from the normal behavior.
But it has been tied in a rubber or something. So how come your body will change?
Even if you eat fufu, your body style will change.
Is it because it's heavier?
Maybe fufu is heavier than the drugs, but because the drug is a foreign material in your system, you by all means exhibit some strange behavior.
So how
sometimes
long can it be
even
in
the
you?
sweat.
How many hours? Before probably, if you are not able to take it out, you may pass out.
Yes, it is time bound, but depending upon the strength of the drug, cocaine may have different number of hours that it can be in the system. Heroin may have different hours, but in all, whatever goes into your stomach, even the mere sight of a law enforcement officer will make you behave in a certain way, and those who are trained to detect those things will be able to identify that no, this man is not behaving normal. So you'll be called to give sample of either your sweat or urine, and there in your presence,
if I give my sample of sweat and urine,
yes,
be able to detect
what
I've swallowed.
Yes.
Interesting. So our phone lines are activated. You can do well to call us when you call. Lower the volume of your TV set. We are discussing cocaine issues, reissues, and all that. So if you want to discuss or you want to contribute to this, especially tramadol, yes, I am so scared of that drug because people can actually stand without, any support here or there, and they can sleep for hours. Because when you push that person will go back and then, come and stand back at wherever the person was pushed from. I don't know why it is so. So if you have a sibling, if you know someone who is going through that, please do what to call us. Okay.
Yeah. So if somebody has swallowed any type of drug, our men have been trained to detect. You take your sample, either urine or even the sweat, test it with some chemicals, and then if it is positive, you'll be arrested, taken to our head office for further examination, and then the person will be made to expel. That's you go to the toilet, and all will come out.
If you don't feel like going to the washroom, how you don't feel like it is coming?
You'll be forced to do that.
How would you be forced? You give some pegatives or something?
Yes, you can be given something like some drugs or chemicals, and then it will all come out. If you are not lucky and one burst in your stomach, that's the end of you.
You die.
You die. You die. And if somebody dies with the drugs in the stomach, the law does not permit the burial of the person with the drugs. So it means that we have to open the stomach and take them out before the body is.
What is the reason why we can't bury them just the way they are? It goes back into our water bodies.
That is one.
Okay.
Then some people can even go to the graveyard, dig
it out, take it out, sell it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very often people ask, what do we do with those drugs that we seize or
I know we're not talking about FDA, but if FDA confiscates a product today, they take everything out from the tin or the can, they bury it.
Yes.
And so you no unscrupulous person can go out, pick it up, and then go back to the market to sell it.
Exactly.
I know you also burn some.
We also do. We burn them in the presence of the public and other security organizations. Yeah. So every 26th June is World International Day for Drugs, International Day Against Drugs. So every 26th June we do the destruction, and the police will be there, the court reps will be there, the immigration, food and drugs authority can be there, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency,
yeah.
they can be there to witness or observe the destruction. So anything that we seize, we don't sell them or we don't use them, we destroy them in the presence of the public. But outside the town, outskirts of the town, so that the smokes will not affect maybe the people living around. Yeah.
Interesting. How long does it take for a sample to be examined? Because I know for once, if you have a product today and then you want to get it registered, the sample of the product should go to whoever is in charge or whoever is in authority to get a sample, take it to the lab for testing. How long does it take for you to get a sample, let's say a cocaine or heroin? You would say that it is supposed or it's supposedly heroin, but we don't know. So how do we detect that this is this and this is that? How long does it take?
We have the field test.
Okay.
And then the test itself. The field test with the chemicals that we use, within 10 minutes, results should be ready.
Okay.
The samples you are talking about, taking samples, that is the legal drugs. That goes with the legal drugs, and that is the work of the Food and Drugs Authority. We don't do those things. But ours is to test the illegal drugs, and that is, we do that on the field. If somebody is traveling by air and you arrest the person at the airport, then it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to do the test. So that if it proves to be negative, you allow the person to go. The person will not miss the flight. Other than that, the cost comes to you.
Okay.
But if it is positive, really, the person has swallowed, then
you won't go.
He won't go.
You have to stay
Yes, we will arrange the person before the court.
Finally, I mean, we are not done with this discussion. If we are given a whole week, we won't finish it up.
Yes.
Tomorrow will be exactly 8 months after the last confiscated items were burnt and all that. Tomorrow will be exactly 8 months.
Yes.
From the last time you got it burnt or you disposed it of till today, have you been able to get some of these items again?
Yes.
So we are waiting for June.
And more arrests have been made.
They've gone through court.
And yes, some have gone through court. Some are still in court. A lot of cases are pending in court now. Yes.
Interesting. Well, what would you say to us? I mean, we are almost wrapping up. What would you say to those of us who would be giving monies to swallow these drugs, take it to this country, from when you come back, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that?
Yes. This particular advice or message goes to especially the youth. Most of the youth are deceived into this drug, lured into this drug by false pretense or presentation. Somebody will be told that, I'll take you to the US, I'll take you to Dubai, I'll take you to Germany, and then maybe the person may not be told that this is what you are going to carry, but before the departure, the person gets to point of no return, and then these drugs are given to the person to carry abroad. Those who are the drug traffickers, they do not carry the drugs themselves. They don't even use the drugs. They always employ people
to do it for them. Yeah.
So if somebody says he's taking you outside the country and you are not sure of what particular work you are going to do there,
don't go.
Don't go. think
twice.
twice.
Interesting.
Because the person is going to use you to make so much money
and you are going
give
to
you
find yourself wanting
just something
a
small.
peanut.
But because you are in need of money, when you come back, you feel you come and the tree says ube nania na ebe brave. When you come in,
Bear boga. Get it.
so it becomes so attractive
to them,
especially people who are not employed and they want just something to lean on or to make a living. But if you are not sure, don't go. And even if you are traveling, don't let anybody baggage your luggage
for you.
It's the possibility of putting something in there will be your doom. You are arrested. By the time you come back, the person is no more where you left the person, and then you will be going to face the consequences alone.
Anyways, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your education. But this brings us to the end of Regulators here on Adwa Television. Today is Monday, 25th of January 2021. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying with us throughout. My name is Nafali. And of course, next week, Monday, we'll come your way with another regulator. This time around, it's still on the same topic. It's still on the same narcotics, substance abuse and stuff. This time we're going to talk about another. We are going to talk to another regulator. I don't want to tell you who that regulator is, but don't worry. We are not done with this. We'll continue. Same time, same day next week. Don't forget to make a date with us.